Hey, good morning, guys. It's Josh, Fire and Cross Creations. Friday thoughts, wellness check. How's everyone doing? Um, Going on everything. Uh, just getting the day going, heading off to work. Friday. But just some quick thoughts. Just thinking about the tournament coming up next week. Getting excited, getting my army together. I'm hogging out the last bit of work on one of the minis, trying to get a second Moloch done in time. If not, I will still have replacements on my list to help out, but mostly because I'm trying to have two Molochs in my list, and again, as we previously discussed a couple Fridays back, I'll be running the Vanguard detachment for my Tyranids. A lot of strategies, I've seen out there, people doing with these, with at least one Moloch. One of the biggest things, I've seen a lot of people recommend is, if you're going to take one, you might as well take two. So basically, in the Vanguard detachment, there's a stratagem you can use where you essentially deep strike a unit, one Tyranid unit or up to two Vanguard units, which the Moloch is, as if it was the turn after. So essentially, turn one, you can deep strike the Moloch, up the midboard. Or if you're a little patient, like I'm going to try my best to be, I know that's not my strong suit when it comes to 40k, but I'm going to try and hold out for turn two so I can, deep strike in my enemy's deployment, mainly because the Moloch is, their melee profile is amazing, but they have one key ability that I think is amazing. So if they deep strike anywhere within 12 inches, they have a D3 mortal wound ability. So my could be dumb, definitely gonna be fun idea is to deep strike two Molochs within the 9 inches, so I can try and get as many units within those 12-inch bubbles and just overlap some mortal wounds. And my initial goal was to, then have them charge in and do some damage. It's going to be hard for me not to do that because I've been seeing, a lot of other people suggest, don't do this. Basically, do the deep strike at a safe distance or behind, cover, and try and let them last until, or till the end of your enemy's fight phase. Basically, so once you go through your whole turn doing that deep strike, just leave them there, do the Moloch bomb essentially, and then keep them away so they can survive. Hopefully they survive. If you have an enemy who is probably going to charge, you probably want to charge first in your turn, but make it through their fight phase and then use another stratagem to pull them off the board before your turn, and then rinse repeat your turn 3, deep strike them again, Moloch bomb, and then at that point potentially charge in and go to town. It's gonna be very hard for me not to charge in that turn 2, just because I at heart I am a world leaders player. I want to get in the fight as soon as I can. Consequences be damned. So I'm really trying this tournament to get in there and be a lot more strategic. Not dumb but fun is usually my go-to for a lot of my lists, and I've really put a lot of thought into this list coming up for the tournament. I could have gotten a couple more units in there, but I have to take well, I don't have to, but I personally feel like I have to take my Swarm Lord and his Tyrant Guard. He's not a Vanguard unit, so, you know, I'm not going to get the Advance in Charge. But, you know, he is going to be pumping out 2 CP, and I think it is critical to always have CP when you're playing Tyranids, just because they have a lot of shenanigans that they can do in their stratagems, and even then, you know, the ability to pump out 2 just in case, because you never know when that extra CP is going to come in handy. It's just, you know, great, you know. And then, you know, personally, I think the Stormlord, you know, he hits like a truck, and then to have his guard with him to dish out wounds and potentially, you know, keep him there the whole game, you know, really helps out. You know, there are some players I know in the local tournament circuit who definitely aren't going to know how to counter that squad. But, you know, we'll play it safe. We'll, you know, try and, you know, move block them as best we can with our infiltrate units. You know, we'll have our lictors, we'll have our Von Ryan sleepers, things like that. But, you know, we're trying to be as strategic as possible this upcoming tournament. You know, really want to push things as best we can, but also, you know, in other games, you know, specifically, you know, I love playing, you know, checkers and chess with my family, you know, and I love a lot of other war games, you know, video games, things like that. And I'm usually very strategic and patient, but for some reason, you know, 40K, I'm you know, typical world leader player. I just want to get in the fight and, like I said, you know, kill, maim, burn, you know. And I usually play my Tyranids like that. I usually run Crusher Stampede. But, you know, actually going over, you know, some of the lists that other players have been putting out, even then, you know, I love the idea that in one of Playon's more recent battle reports, Mubin ran, you know, what I would have considered a Crusher Stampede list, but he did, I believe it was the Assimilation Swarm. So he ran 6 Norns, 3 Emissary, 3 Assimilators, and I overlooked that detachment completely because, you know, I was like, this is usually not my playstyle. But, you know, Assimilators healing Emissaries every turn, that's just scary to me. So, you know, I definitely will look at, I don't have, you know, 6 Norns right now. I have 4. So, you know, definitely got to figure out and see about getting 2 more Assimilators for my lists and testing out, you know, that list for myself. But, you know, as far as everything else goes, you know, it's Games Workshop putting out some more minis, Admech stuff. I never really gave Admech some thought. The sculpts look amazing. You know, I know a few Admech players who were definitely excited, and also kind of upset because, you know, they are glad for the new minis, but also most Admech players I know don't like painting their minis because there's so much tiny detail and they're so small themselves, and all being infantry. But, you know, that's kind of where my thoughts for Friday. Getting ready for the tournament, getting the last mini out of the way up to, and I want to try and push beyond tabletop standard, my usual tabletop standard for this mini, with, you know, some of the new basing techniques I've been pumping out and redoing on some of my other minis. So staying tuned to that. You know, I didn't get any shorts out. I just kind of got bogged down with work and, you know, a little tired, so I didn't really feel like pumping out any short clips this week. But next week I will, who knows, I might have a clip every day. Let's see how that, you know, goes for my algorithm and, you know, my channel. But again, you know, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great day. If you're starting your day, good luck. If you're ending the day, woohoo, you know. But, you know, look forward to getting some more things done on my channel, and you all have a good one.